So really it just comes down to all of our guys are trustworthy and honest, and none of them want to oversell a client on something that they don't need. That's how we've always been, and that's how I foresee us always going down the road, is just being honest. People want to see about your business and what your people in your business are doing more than anything else. And so just showing that you really are a person on the other side of the phone is going to go a long way.
That's awesome. No, I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, if you're doing that every month at $300, and that is money well spent.
You're listening to the HVAC Heroes podcast, a show that shares real stories of growth and success in order to inspire HVAC contractors to achieve optimal success in their own businesses. On this show, we talk with some of the top HVAC companies across the USA to unveil the strategies and decisions they have made to eventually become some of the most successful in the industry. I'm your host, Alex Van Leeuwen, the founder of HVAC Marketers, which is the digital marketing agency for HVAC businesses. On each episode, I sit down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons that they've learned along the way, and how you too can find success in your HVAC business.
Krista, thanks so much for joining us today on the HVAC Heroes podcast. So if you would maybe just start by, introducing yourself to our listeners. We've got a lot of HVAC owners listening into the podcast. So kind of who you are and where you're at, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I am Krista. I'm the marketing and IT manager here at Gulfshore Air Conditioning. I started in the summer of 2011, right at the end of June. So threw me right in to the heat of the battle as the administrative assistant. And then over the years, worked up as the company grew to the position that I'm in today. My educational background is in marketing and entrepreneurship. So this is right in line with everything that I have learned about and everything that I grew to love in going to school for business. So yeah, I'm just happy to have been here for 12 years now.
Wow.
Just 3 weeks ago, 12, hit my 12.
Oh my gosh, congrats.
So yes, so very, very exciting, very happy for everything that Gulfshore is doing, this year and in our next few years that we have planned out.
Yeah, you guys are doing a lot of cool stuff. And just for our listeners, what kind of how many trucks on the road? What have you've been there for 12 years? What have you scaled up to?
Yeah, so when I started at the business, I want to say that we were at the revenue mark of 1.2 to 1.5 million. Last year, we broke the wall down and crossed the $5 million mark.
Wow.
That
awesome.
Was really, really exciting.
Congrats.
To see it grow from, this small business to now we're, in the middle of the road, making waves where we're at.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, currently we have 4 full-time install crews and then 9 technicians on the road providing service to all the residents here.
Wow.
And some of commercial businesses.
So you've seen a lot over 12 years. That's a lot of growth and a lot of change.
Yes.
I'm curious, as head of marketing, over there at Gulfshore, what are some of the key changes? Over 12 years, you've been so narrowly focused on making the phone ring in the HVAC space. What have you seen that's changed over 12 years?
So when I first started here, our biggest form of getting clients in was referrals.
You were going into just a bit of over 12 years that you've seen in residential HVAC, just tasked with making the phone ring essentially in the marketing seat. What are some of the big changes that you've seen over that time?
Yes. So our customer referral rate was about 90% of our new clients were from customer referral, person to person. Hey, call Gulfshore. Hey, call Gulfshore. Oh, your AC's out, call Gulfshore. And now we're seeing, over the years that's ticked down a little, ticked down a little, ticked down a little, to where now our customer referral for new clients is between 70 and 75% every year. So we've gone from customer referrals to being our number one to it still is our number one, but we're seeing more of GLS, more of social media, more of our community events that we're a part of and people finding us that way than necessarily just your neighbor down the street. So that's been interesting to watch and kind of learn over the years, how to navigate that.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, if you're, at 70%, that still sounds like you're crushing it from a referral standpoint.
Yeah.
Do you do like referral incentives, or, like, do you programize it, or is it just
We
pure
do.
organic? Okay.
No, we do.
I
We
figured at that rate, you're doing
yeah.
some magic there.
Yeah, we have dolphin bucks. So we give them out on every install that we do. Most of the service technicians pass them out when they're meeting with homeowners. We're in a big vacation market. So not every time do we walk into a house are we going to actually be meeting with the homeowners. We could be meeting with a tenant or a rental client. So when we see homeowners, we pass out the dolphin bucks, and it provides $50 off any future services for the referee and for the referral.
Oh, wow.
So it's a win-win for everyone. They both get $50 off any maintenance, any service calls that they need. And people really, really love it because it looks like it looks like a $50 bill, but it's not. It's
Oh, that's awesome.
logo built into it, and it is $50 in dolphin bucks.
Wow.
So people really, really love that.
Is that an offer that you've toyed with over the years, like changing the amount or like adding the, that both the referrer and the new customer get it, or it's been pretty successful right out of the gate?
Yeah, right out of the gate, it was pretty successful. It used to just be myself and the office manager at the time would just keep track of it on our notepads of John Smith called in Jane Doe. And, then we would just know, because we were the only two there, to apply a $50 credit to his account and leave that in the account notes and apply a $50 credit to her current invoice because she was referred in. So over the years, it's kind of evolved that now there's more people involved. So we actually need a physical copy of who referred whom. And when they both get back to the office, they get paired up, and then the credits get applied to their accounts. So it's always been $50. $50 seems to be a good enough amount and an incentive for people to refer, and a good enough amount for people to then follow through and call. It's always been about, half of what our diagnostics fee is. So that's also another benefit, is that, they feel that there's a good benefit there because their diagnostic fee is already reduced. So people really, really love the program. And I think it was last year that we ordered just plain $50 dolphin bucks to start handing out at community events, so that anybody that comes to our table that seems, partially interested in our maintenance program or using us for services, I can pass those out, or the owner can pass those out, or any of our sales techs can pass them out. That anybody can get those now. So it's not just referral based.
That's awesome. I think a lot of people will be interested in that because, there's so many HVAC shops that are playing the ads game and deploying a lot of dollars to make the phone ring. And it's not only digital that makes it happen and results in that growth, but like I'd be really interested in, like, I think you guys do such a great job of that grassroots, organic, like community, social media, even like. So what are you doing with like, tell them a little bit more about the way that you're leveraging community events or sponsorships or things like that?
Yeah. So we have a local nonprofit in the area that is educational for children on how to be around dogs, be around new dogs when they're out at parks, how to approach a dog. And they're all just in educational. So they don't do anything with adoptions. They will help with fostering and trying to pull dogs out of our local animal shelters to help foster them for a little bit. But they don't actually do anything with the follow through with the adoption of any of that. They're strictly just educational to educate our children in our community about dogs. And then they also do a therapy side of that business. So they'll go into the schools for therapies with the dogs, into the hospitals, into the nursing homes, and all of that. So they host 4 to 5 events throughout the year, and they're all themed events, and the dogs all come dressed in costumes.
Oh, how
So
cool.
that's our That's one of our biggest ones that we participate in, and we absolutely love it. It's so fun. The Halloween one and the Easter one is my favorite because the dogs go Easter egg hunting.
That's great.
Yes. So we participate with them 4 to 5 times a year. This year, we partnered up with another local nonprofit that is for the community and the military in our local counties. And our first event with them was just last week, and it was Cram the Van and participating in trying to get donations for school supplies. And it was highly, highly successful due to their marketing, our marketing, and partnering up with other local businesses. We donated so many school supplies for all of the schools in our area that needed them the most. And actually, while we were standing there trying to get people from the road to come in and see us, we got a $5,000 check from a
Oh my
local
gosh.
foundation. Yes.
Wow.
So it was the biggest monetary donation that they had ever received for
Oh
this.
my
And they've been
word.
doing this Cram the Van for 3 or 4 years now, I think. So it was amazing to be a part of that day.
Wow. That's amazing. Like so then I'm curious, like, I think it's encouraging to find, events or causes that, are meaningful. Like why these events or,
Yeah.
organizations, how did that come about?
So the one with the dogs, which is called Dog Harmony, we met her a few years ago just by she ended up being a client of ours initially for her facility, and then her nonprofit has kind of evolved and changed over the years, but they've always done these events in our local community, and the owner is very much animal loving. Let's do anything to help support our nonprofits in the areas that have anything to do with animals. And so it was, a go from the start of, oh, you want to have a quarterly events? Okay, great. We'll be there. Just count on us. You don't even have to ask us every quarter. We'll be there. You just tell us the date and time. So there's it's grown to like 10 different businesses that are there every single time, no questions asked, that we come to support this nonprofit in the area. And then with the community area outreach program, that was through a local realty group. So it's a whole bunch of realtors and then businesses that work with realtors. So home inspectors, plumbers, electricians, HVAC, businesses like that partner up with them as sponsors for that. And we get to partner up with their events and take pride in working alongside them.
That's so cool. I think the best business is a win-win. So being able to have it like start from a customer and then it's turned into this whole opportunity to be involved with great organizations, but then, have it be a windfall for you all as well. Like when you're at the events, just like tactically speaking for like other HVAC owners that, are thinking, how would I get involved and be at an event and kind of generate some buzz around my name? Like how many people are there? What are you doing? Like you mentioned the dolphin bucks, which I thought was cool. Like what tactically are you doing at these events?
Yes. So at the events, it's typically myself and maybe one other employee with Gulfshore or the owner. And we always bring some promotional products. We always bring informational stuff about us. So an about us brochure, products that we offer, accessories that we offer, detailed information about our services, the dolphin bucks, of course. And then really it's just about communicating with people when they're out there. So as they're at these events and they, come around to our table specifically, just asking valuable questions to them of, oh, are you new to the area? Do you currently live here? Because some of these events, we don't always know if they're 100% homeowners in the area. They could be residents from outside just visiting here, and it's all the promotional products about these events and attending. So, do you reside here? Are you a resident? And then, getting to know a little bit about them. Oh, how long did you live here? And getting to know them first, and then lead in with my question, always lead in with HVAC is, oh, well, is your current system on a maintenance program? And 90% of the time they say no. I'm like,
Wow.
oh, well, I'm not here to sell you anything. That's not what I do at Gulfshore. I'm just here to, market our brand, get out in the community and let people know that we're an option. Can I provide you with a brochure about our maintenance contracts that we have? And, they always take it. There are quite a few times that we participate in these company events that people want to sign up right then and there. And I could do that
Wow.
on my Service Titan mobile. I create them an account, book them, and get them going right there with Service Titan. So that's been an awesome thing. We just onboarded with Service Titan in January. So that's only just been recently that I've been able to do that. Typically, I just take their name and number on a piece of paper, come back to the office the next business day, call them and get their contract set up. But yeah, the community events is really where my passion is at, is getting out in front of our future clientele and just letting them know that there's options in the area.
Yeah, I mean that's so huge, and I think it's like we can all like fall victim, day in and day out. We're thinking, oh, surely everyone knows about maintenance, like HVAC maintenance plans, but there's really an educational gap out there where you can be in the community, putting a genuine best foot forward to sponsor great
Yes.
events and generate that community awareness, goodwill awareness. And yeah, that's so powerful. And then to like ask those questions, which I think are important. Like sometimes it's uncomfortable to bring that up, but you're doing a great service. Like people
Yeah.
benefit from being on these plans, and it gives you a great opportunity.
Yes.
And then to sign them up right there. I mean, that's just the cherry on the top. That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I always kid with people. They're like, "Oh, well, you're trying to sell me a new unit." I'm like, "No, that's not my job. That's his job.
That's awesome.
That's his job."
I'm just
I'm
giving you
just
the
here to
dolphin
educate you.
bucks.
Yeah, I'm just here to educate you. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all my job is to educate the community on HVAC, how they can do better with their current system, how they can try and make it last a little bit longer. Things and tips and tricks you can do with inside your home to improve your indoor air quality, accessories that we offer to improve efficiency or save on energy bills with a smart thermostat that allows you to do scheduling and has an eco option. So that's what I always tell people. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm strictly here to educate the community on us as an option as your HVAC contractor.
And I think that's the best way. I mean, in 2023, the buyer is just so different. Like, that I'm a big believer and big proponent of that education path, like give first and keep giving, and it will come back and, and magnitude higher just
Yeah.
as a result. Like I said, good business is good business. Like you be good to people and it comes back around, no doubt. How to that point, we talk about like just how customers are different, and there's that 2023 skepticism, or people are just looking after their own wallets, as they should be. Like over your experience, what have you seen in terms of change in your service area with your customers, just in their their buying behavior, or really anything? Like what have you seen a change over the last several years?
Yes, so we're seeing a lot of more of our clients choose our financing options of our 0% for 18 months versus just paying with it with either their typical credit card or paying with it via cash. We're seeing people choose to repair a unit versus replacing it. We're also seeing a change in people choosing a 14.3 SEER 2 system over a higher SEER, better efficiency unit, because they just want to get by for right now until they can see where the market is going over the next 5 years to make different decisions down the road.
And like how, so that's a, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No,
Did I cut you off?
no.
That's an interesting point. Like that change there, where people are more, let me just kick this can down the road and kind of gimp along with my current system. Like when did that start to shift for you all? Like when did you start to really notice that change?
I would say within the last 3 to 4 years, we've seen that change just incrementally go every year, that more and more people are wanting to make, a repair, whether it's an indoor and outdoor coil, and choose that over replacing the whole air handler or the whole condenser. And, there's only like on a typical 14.3 SEER2, there's only like a $2,500 difference between changing the coil or changing the whole condenser out. And so they're making that decision to just choose the repair versus choosing the replacement, even though that unit no longer has a warranty. So it's been interesting to watch. I can understand it as a homeowner myself. I would be put in that predicament right now. If my AC went out, I would be considering a repair versus replacing it at this point in time. So it's easy for us as a business to understand that and stand by them and go, okay, we understand why you're doing this. We don't necessarily agree with it, but I can sympathize on why you're choosing that option.
And then are you you're then educating on like financing options, or are your buyers coming in pretty well aware of options and having done a lot of research, or how does that tend to go?
We're definitely having to educate more of our clients on the financing options that we offer. So we do have quite a few different ones. In our area, FPL Home is available, which is a awesome product. There is no cost to us, the contractor, for like a buy down fee for that. So we don't have to pass anything on to our homeowners in providing them this. The only downfall is it's a 9.9 to a 12.5% interest rate. But if you actually do sit down and educate the client and do the math with them, they would only be paying, a few $100s extra to have that as an option of, okay, well, let's go ahead and install this unit, get a 10-year parts warranty, instead of making this $2,500 repair on changing my condenser coil or my compressor that has no warranty and something else could fail tomorrow.
Yeah, you kind of try to talk through what's that 10-year cost, like, but it's interesting because I'm hearing from so many people about this same, buyer hesitancy and opting for like the short term, let's just keep it going. Like, what do you, when you look in your crystal ball, like what do you see in the next like year or two, like with are we trending further in this direction, or do you think that this is just cyclical and it's just dependent on the economy? Like what are you seeing?
I think that it might continue to head in the direction that it's in right now, with choosing repairs for a little bit longer. But I think it's really all about educating your clients on that there's options to get them different choices and to do what's best for them. So ultimately, that's where, our technicians and even our comfort consultants draw the line, is that we're not going to oversell you on something that you don't need, but we are going to educate you on the different options that we have available. It's up to you to make the decision on the efficiency that you choose for a new system in your home. It's on you to determine what repairs you want to complete today. Yes, only your contactor is pitted and failed, but I'm also noticing some degradation on your capacitor. Would you like me to replace both today or just the contactor? And so it really comes down to educating them on all of the options and letting the client choose how they want to spend their money. And that's what we have always preached at Gulfshore to our service technicians and even our sales team, is don't spend your client's money. Let them choose how they want to use it.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, customers are smart. Like they sense that, and they sense, what is truly like the text in my house, like what's truly the angle here. I mean, I think oftentimes we think about, it's easy to think about our customers in a certain way, but they know what's going on. And that's why truly, I think the best business is just what you described. Like, they're the captain. I'm coming to you with the options, and we can do what you want, but we have the expertise in this, and here's, kind of, if it was my home, maybe I'd pay up a little bit more right now and do something that's over the long term going to be less expensive, or maybe I would just do a smaller replacement. But having that kind of behavior, I think, really helps with the lifetime value of that customer and help retain them for years and years. To that end, I'm curious. so do you, with your team, like in your tech specifically, do you do any kind of training in terms of like how they like you mentioned how all your techs do a really good job of really being more of that consultant. Like, do you do training for that? Is it more just like embedded in your culture, or how do you do that and make sure that your teams has a uniform message in the field in terms of being more consultative?
Yes. I mean, there's definitely days where the guys have off days.
I think
Not
that's fair.
perfect every day.
We're demanding
Uh,
perfection. No.
yeah. No, I don't ever strive for any of them to be perfect. I want them to
Yeah.
have the best days that they can have, but every day is not going to be a great day. And so really it just comes down to all of our guys are trustworthy and honest. And none of them want to oversell a client on something that they don't need. And so they're not going to walk into a house and just because it's not cooling, say, "Oh, we need a new one. Can't help you here.
Yeah.
You just need a new one." They're all, you know, very, very honest and want to find why the system isn't working to begin with before they turn it over as a lead anyway. So they're all very inquisitive and wanting to solve that problem. And so when, it is a problem that the customer chooses their solution, they're kind of, like, "Oh, I did it." And they're happy with that, they didn't oversell somebody on something that they didn't need. But that is a lot of our culture. So that's how we've always been. And that's how I foresee us always going down the road, is just being honest. And
Mhm.
that's really where we strive to be, is at the end of every day, we want ourselves, our employees, and any of our clients to be able to go to sleep at night and know that they were taken care of and not oversold. So
Wow, that's powerful. I love that.
yeah.
Where does that come from? That culture?
That's what the owner has always been. So in the 12 years I've been here, that's how he's always been. His prior background is in law enforcement, so he's all about being trustworthy and leading with trust. So, I mean, even on his bad days, that's where it comes down to at the end of the day, is that we're going to do what's best for the customer, even if right now it's hard.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I mean, often it's always easier said than done, having that long-term view of, making it right. And, as you mentioned, there's always bad days, and there's bad
Yeah.
things that arise, and so many frustrating things that are completely out of our control that you just have to go in and make right.
Yes.
And yeah, and I find that culture is always something that trickles down, from the top,
It
from
does.
the owner, from the leadership, and that really leading by example goes a long way, and really is a profitable way to be, because it results in these customer interactions that you've talked about. So,
Yeah.
um, and speaking of customers, so you are in more of a vacation area. You're like, Destin would be like the biggest city right near you.
Yes.
So like what is your, and we're kind of shifting gears,
Yeah.
but what is your like your target customer? What does that persona look like? Because there are a lot of, some of the biggest HVAC companies are in some of these more tourist areas, more vacation homes, and so like what is, like who is your ideal target customer?
So our ideal target customer is the homeowner here. We
Mhm.
do have quite a few property management companies that we partner up with that use us for their emergency services or putting their systems on a maintenance plan when they see the value of having all of their properties on a maintenance plan. But we still are mainly residential, and a lot of our counties, Okaloosa and Walton, are still single family homes. So yes, we service Destin, and yes, Destin is very, very popular this time of year as a vacation. But those homeowners still come down here and live in their homes, for a month, 2 months at a time in the off season. So we do still target the homeowner is our target client, because we don't ever do any repairs on behalf of a tenant or a
Right.
property manager without pre-approval from the owner, or if the property management company isn't going to pay us directly. So we really deal with just the homeowner 90% of the time.
Gotcha. And the reason that I asked is, we were talking earlier about kind of your top sources of new business and really how referral has been so strong. So, and we've talked about events and culture and all those things that really can shake the trees and make that more person to person work. But what would you say? So if that's number one, like what are like the next 2 and 3 ranking efforts that are really bringing in new customers for you all?
GLS is our biggest one, being Google guaranteed, and through the Google local services is our next biggest one. We typically see an upswing in that after hours and on the weekends is when we typically get the most calls from GLS. So I definitely am a huge supporter of GLS. When that premiered in, I think it was 2019 or 2020, we were the leading company in our area to have that and saw so many leads. Now it's kind of infiltrated. There's like over 30 contractors in our area that are GLS certified. So, we've kind of seen, slow down in how many leads we get and the quality of leads, but
The
it's still
secret's
a
gotten
great
out.
for us.
The secret's gotten out.
Secret's out. But it still is a great option for us. We still continue to see great return on investment in using that, even though we don't necessarily win every lead that calls in, or we don't ever, it doesn't ever turn into a system sale or even a repair. Sometimes people just want us to come out as a second opinion and call through that GLS, so we get charged for the lead, even though we didn't make any money off of it. So, it does time after time still pay for itself to be a part of that.
Yeah, and I think those leads tend to be pretty cost effective as you compare. Like, do you do any pay per click ads or 100% local services?
Yeah, just local services. Yeah. We have not run a pay per click ad in probably been like
quite some time.
Years since I ran my last pay per click ad. We did try and do that this year in May, and it just did not return well for us. So we did it for 6 weeks and we just didn't see the performance out of it that we needed to. The last time I ran it was when we ran a huge campaign with changing our maintenance program, and that was 6 or 8 years ago, and it did okay. It wasn't great, but it did okay. And this year it just didn't work at all for us. So we turned it back off. It just isn't something within our business that we use.
I think it can be really dependent on the service area, kind of in the auction environment for those ads. But I mean, it seems like 9 times out of 10, you're better off to deploy the budget to LSA and just, but there are plenty of, HVAC companies that struggle to spend the LSA budget and actually get placed on page one and get those calls, and may have a, the $40,000 a month budget, but only spend 2,000 of it. So have you run into any of those problems, like getting placement? Or
Yes. So we are constantly toggling either at number 3 or 4, 5, or 6. So we have never been number 1 or number 2 since it premiered in 2019 or I think it was 2019 that product premiered. That was the last time that we were for sure number 1 or number 2. So we typically switch between 3 and then on that second page.
Yeah, which is a tough spot to be.
Yes, which, I understand it. I understand the algorithms, how, Google is tracking that on how they choose who to put 1, 2, and 3. And our biggest thing is Google reviews. So the other 2 people in our area that are always number 1 or number 2 have like 200% more Google reviews than we do. So that is the biggest thing that my partner who helps me with the GLS, which is Search King, that's our coaching call is always, Krista, you got to get more reviews. You got to get more reviews. I'm like, I'm trying. So that's really the big kicker there with that GLS is, your reviews. If you're not getting reviews daily, weekly, or monthly, GLS is going to put you, on that second page.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a factor there. And then also like, um, I talk all the time about how Google reviews are such an important conversion element. So and just to put it in simple terms, it's like, if I know, like, my wife and I are going to go try a new restaurant, we're like, oh, we'll do something different, and pull out the phone and go to Google and type in food. Like, first thing I'm going to is the reviews. And if there's not enough, or if they're not high enough, like, we're not going to go, even if they are first. So it's both things. So what are you doing, or what are you brainstorming in order to improve the Google review situation?
So actually, last month for quarter 3, we premiered a Google review competition for our clients. So anybody that leaves a Google review from July 1st through September 30th will be entered to win a $300 gift card, to kind of incentivize our clients that tell our service technicians in the field, oh yeah, I'll leave you a review, when they ask for it, and then they never followed through with it. So I created postcard size little handouts with a QR code that leads them directly to the Google review link. It doesn't take them anywhere else but there, with the information about the competition. So we'll see.
That's awesome. No, I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, if you're doing that every month at $300, I mean, that is money well spent to keep accumulating those reviews.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. And like, the more successful campaigns that I've seen are come from some gamification like that, like, making it a chance to win, or like, tip your tech, or doing certain things, like, to to give people the reason to actually
Yeah.
not ignore that text or that email that comes through. Do you have a good experience today
Yeah.
with us? So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that was our biggest issue with the team, when we would ask, like, hey, we need more reviews. Like, are y'all even asking for them? Well, yeah, I ask for them every single time I see a homeowner, but they don't ever leave a review. And it was, okay, well, how can I incentivize it a little bit more? How can we help the client understand how important this is for us, and give them a little bit of incentive to do it?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that was that we'll see how it works.
And
I'm
you
only doing it for quarter 3. We'll see how it works.
no, I think that, and that's the whole thing. Like, I mean, just to kind of circle back, like, on marketing, growing a business, what, like, it's all about you know
Trial and
trying
error.
something, exactly, trying something, doing it in a way that you can measure
Yeah.
those results, and say, oh, this worked like gangbusters, or this was a total waste of money, and let's try something else.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't, whatever it is. But that's what's so exciting about marketing, I think, particularly in this space with HVAC, where you're dealing with you're serving a true community. It's not, you're not global, you're not nationwide. Like, these are people in your area, and it's a really, well, I think, one of the last, like, cultural opportunities to really be part of a community. And I won't get on the whole, like, culture soapbox, but yeah, I think that's very cool, very neat. Well, is there anything that, well, let me put this question on you. So you've done marketing for 12 years, in the HVAC space. And let's say that one of our listeners is an owner of an HVAC company, and they're at that 1.3 million, and they're looking to get to 5, and they're looking to grow. Like, what are the one or two low hanging fruit, or strategies, or marketing channels that, like, from your perspective as a marketer in this space, that you would say, oh, consider this, or do that, try this?
Starting a newsletter, recruiting or retaining of your clients' email addresses and contact information, making sure that's as correct as your CSR team can get it, would be the biggest thing that I would say. We've only been sending out a newsletter for the last 3 to 4 years, maybe, routinely every month. And our clients love it. At the bottom, we always include whose birthday it was this month. So if they see our text out
Oh,
in the
no
field,
way.
they can wish them a happy birthday if they choose. we just include fun things, community events that we're going to be a part of. Hey, you can find us here this month, or didn't know if you knew about this event we're sponsoring, but it's a great one. It funnels in supports, this charity. So we always include little tidbits about that. It's never 100% of you need a new AC unit. I'm here to sell you what you need, our maintenance plan. It's educational backed, but personal.
Love that. So to break it down, you've got something that's oriented around the team and some camaraderie, like the birthday piece, community, highlighting a community event. And then just to be really specific on, like, is there sometimes no ask? Is it a soft ask? Is it a offer? Like what are, because it's so easy to overdo it and underdo it. So what are you doing there?
I would say it's more of an education soft ask type of piece that I include. So it's typically educational on, this is the new accessory that we have to offer, and this is why we've brought it on to offer to our clients. So we're not necessarily saying you have to go get this, you need this. It's, I'm going to educate you on why we brought it on and felt that our clients needed to know about this. And then if you choose to purchase it at the end of what you're reading, great. You purchase it, we can schedule it and come install it. But it's not, you have to have this.
Yeah.
So I think that's why our readership rate is so high, because I think the national average for an email newsletter is like 20% open rate.
Yeah,
is like
if
national
that.
average. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty low.
that's phenomenal. And even, I mean, even just like issues to, like, without going super technical, like in today's day and age with email deliverability and things like that being such a big issue. I mean, that's phenomenal, 40+%. So you're saying just make sure that you're collecting data on your customers, email. Is there anything else, like, do you do like text message, or do you do like phone, or?
So all of our text messaging is typically for your current services that you have scheduled, reminding you and confirming those appointments, and then scheduling your maintenance plan. We don't currently do any sort of text messaging, special sales, anything like that, because that is really tricky with the current, market, and them kind of holding that tight, that people don't want to be bombarded on their phone with spammy text messages. So we have not rolled anything like that out. Not saying that that couldn't be in our future of doing a text message blast. It just isn't currently part of our marketing strategy. And then the other big thing that I would say for contractors to do, starting off with, is definitely some social media. Everyone thinks that it's really, really hard. I even struggle with it from time to time in getting the content up there, but really dedicating some time once a month to plan out the next month and getting some content scheduled, even if it's change your filter. Just educate people and remind them to change their AC filter. Or these were the reviews we were left this month, and highlight your reviews that you were left. Just do something. People want to see about your business and what your people in your business are doing more than anything else. And so just showing that you really are a person on the other side of the phone is going to go a long way in the long run. It's not going to be a short end strategy, but in the long run, it'll pay off.
Well, and when you're putting so much emphasis in, the culture of the business and being so, like, I just sense such a personal touch, is your culture, and social media is a good spot to really curate your existing customers and get in front of them and really, be proud of the culture that you have. And, it is one of those things that takes a little bit of effort, but you just gave some great, like, freebies, like post reviews that you're getting. There's no excuse to not be doing that, or just little, just start small. Like what would you say? Like, so for a company that's, they look up, they go to their Facebook, Instagram, and it's been, 5 years since the last time that they made a post. And they're like, okay, I'm going to try to take one step forward and rethink this social media thing. Like, what would you say? Like, okay, for the next 60 days, like, do this.
Yeah, I would say definitely schedule a post every month to remind people to change their filters. Every other month, I would probably say recommend them to have their system maintained. Excuse me. Then from there, it's really just kind of flowing in information into how big is your organization and how apt are your employees to help participate. So if you have an employee that's willing to participate and have their picture shown on their birthday, throw it up there. It's Joe's birthday today. Let's all wish him happy birthday. Stuff like that is really easy to do.
Yeah, that's so easy. And I think people sometimes get caught in the, oh, it doesn't look professional enough, or it's not produced enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like the production versus like the iPhone picture that you just throw up? Like, is there a big cost to not being produced?
I mean, on one hand, posting nothing versus posting something is always the better option.
I agree.
I do prefer to have my posts look a little more curated, a little more branded with the logo, the phone number, the license number, all of that information to let people know how they can get a hold of us, that we're licensed, that we're the real deal type of information on the image. I do try and do most of the time, but not all the time does it happen. Sometimes I don't have time to do that. Sometimes if I'm behind or I've been more on the administrative organizational side of the business this week, next week posts are just going to be images I've pulled out of Service Titan and just compiled them into Canva and scheduled them.
I love
So
that.
it kind of ebbs and flows on what my responsibilities and duties are, how the social media looks from month to month, week to week, day to day. But I try to at least post 3 to 5 times a week.
Yeah. So what you're saying is there's no excuse to not be regularly posting something
Yeah.
to your business's profiles. Yeah. I could not possibly agree more. I think it's a neglected channel, especially for existing customers, which are your best future customers.
Yes.
What channels, like what social media platforms are you posting on right now?
We're on all of them. If it's out
Wow.
there, we got it.
Love that. Love that. So you stay busy.
Yes. Yes.
So how do you like, I guess quickly, like how do you operationalize that? Like cuz that sounds really overwhelming, I think, for a lot of businesses. So how do you actually put that into practice where you're on every channel, and is it the same content? Is it different content? Like how do you go about that?
So with it always evolving, just like we just got Threads by Meta, which is kind of like Twitter.
Wow. You guys
It's
are on Threads already. That's amazing.
it, it's hard, but
Yeah,
on Threads, I just post something at the end of every night, like it was a great day today. Thanks everyone for making it a great day. All of our clients that called in, or
it's perfect.
today we cleared 5 drain lines, or today, whatever it was. And it doesn't always have to be the facts. Just something, just post something. And I
Yeah.
typically, if I'm going to post it on Threads, I typically open Twitter and post pretty much the same thing. Same with Instagram Reels. If I'm posting it to Instagram Reels, I just download the same content from Canva and post it to TikTok and YouTube Shorts at the same time.
Yeah, may as well.
I use Canva for everything and do all of my video editing in Canva, and then download it from Canva and post it to all three. So I'm not in the TikTok app editing it, doing all of that, and then trying to download it from there with the TikTok emblem and then post it elsewhere. So that would be the biggest thing that I would say is get a Canva subscription. You can do a lot with the free version. I choose to do the pro version.
Yeah, it's so cheap.
Yes, it's cheap, and they do have a lot of benefits. You get all of the video, audio, everything included in the pro version. There's no added steps up. It's either you pay for it or you don't. And it just makes it really flawless to create your brand hub to where you can have all of your logos, your company colors, your any additional brand images that you have, like images of the owner or the office staff headshots and all of that completely organized in there. So you can just go and grab it as you're creating stuff. And then there's no second guessing on what type of header font do I want to use. You just go in and curate it once and it's done.
Yeah, it's all set. And I know that for some that sounds super simple and like know exactly what you're talking about. But for those that don't, like, Canva is so easy. I mean, it's as easy as it is powerful. I mean, we use it as an agency all the time for things. And like, I'm just a big proponent for not letting, like, learning curves be a barrier to progress. And I'm so glad that you brought this up about how you're using Canva, in real time and making your content there and exporting it. I mean, how long would you say someone that's never used Canva, how long would they have to stay in the tool? Like your average user that's, never been in Canva to like make their first social media graphic?
I would say less than 30 minutes. It honestly is so easy. Once you go to your brand hub and get at least your logo and your brand colors picked out, it generates pretty awesome fonts automatically. And then really going in and using the templates. Just search for a template and there's like a 90% chance it's already been done on change your filter. And then all you have to do is edit your logo to be on there, add your phone number and email address or web page, and change it to your brand colors, and you're done. And you can duplicate it and create one for every month and go ahead and schedule it out for the year.
Love that. Yeah. Make it simple. It's like, that's definitely a tool where, it's one step more difficult than maybe just going direct to Facebook and typing something and posting it. But you get past that, you get a little bit set up in there, and then, oh my gosh, life is so much easier. And you can do what you're doing more at scale with all these different channels.
Yes.
Are there any specific, like, newer channels? Like you mentioned Threads, like, are there any newer channels that are really crushing it for you all? You're seeing a lot of engagement, or is it just more you want to be, you get a drip from all of them? So if you can be everywhere collectively, it rows the boat in the right direction.
YouTube Shorts really threw me for a loop. I've only been posting on there for about as long as I've been posting to TikTok, so about 5 months. And I did a cutesy video of us ladies in the office got an upgrade from just our generic company t-shirts to actually poloed shirts and have a little more professional, attire to wear to the office. And I did this really cute video of us basically jumping in and out, or I jumped in and out of our office from a t-shirt to a polo. And on YouTube Shorts, that has almost 3,000 views.
Oh my gosh.
Would have never thought it. Like, I strictly posted it there because I posted it to Instagram and I posted it to TikTok and I posted it to Shorts. And it's got the most reach out of all of them. It has the most reach. It blew me away.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I think it's easy. I mean, it's so easy to see these new platforms, or like in this case, like with YouTube rolling out Shorts or TikTok or Threads, and just kind of not really be curious about it and not try it. But I mean, I see time and time again, your story is a perfect example of how when these new channels roll out, that's the best time to get that free exposure. Like, to get that kind of exposure on Facebook or Instagram, you're going to put dollars behind that post to get the same amount of exposure as you can, get from maybe Shorts or TikTok or Threads for free. So that it goes back to that testing and experimenting and trying. Like, how would you know unless you just threw it up on Shorts that you're going to get thousands of views? That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't go viral, but I was just I just, like, after a week of it being up there, I just went and checked on it and I was like, oh, wow. Wow. We're kind of famous. 3,000 people watched us.
It's awesome. And you're not overthinking the content, like just doing, so jumping in and out, and it's the new shirt. Like, I think there's people that will say like, oh, I'm just not that creative. And I think sometimes I know I fall victim of this where I just overthink it. And it's like, just, just if you have an idea, just try it and just put it out
Yeah.
there and see what happens.
Yes. I mean,
So,
we got these new shirts like 3 weeks before we did the video, but it took me that long to come up with a clever idea
yeah.
of how could we premiere it that we did this, because the company that did our shirts is another local company, and they're like, hey, do you mind giving us a shout out on Facebook or
Oh,
Instagram that
okay.
you got our
Yeah.
shirts? And I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that for you. And I was like, why not want to just post a picture? How can I make this a little bit better for them and a little bit better for us at the same time?
Yeah, that's awesome. It's okay to have a personality as a business, and
Yeah.
put out things like that.
Oh yeah.
So, well, this has been such a great conversation. Is there anything that maybe we didn't cover that you wanted to mention, or any little nuggets of wisdom here at the end, now that I put you on the spot for it?
Yeah. Just get started. Choose something and start it. Choose whether it's social media and you're going to start posting to Instagram or Facebook once a week. Choose it, set a goal, and just start. Or am I going to craft a newsletter once a month? Or what new marketing thing can I start, or that I saw that I would have liked to do over the last 5 years? Because I just did the same thing. I went to a training in 2019 and I literally went and pulled out my portfolio from 2019 and was like, what were the notes from that marketing conference I went to? I'm sure that there's something I can pull out of there that I can start doing now that I thought was a great idea then and never implemented. So just use that. Any conference that you've gone to, HVAC conference, there's always a marketing, breakout session. Find your notes from there, see what your ideas were, what, they educated you on then, and just start something.
I love that. Speed to implementation is key. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, Krista, thank you so much. This has been such a great talk, and appreciate everyone that listened in. And this has been an episode of the HVAC Heroes podcast.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the HVAC Heroes podcast. If you would like to book more jobs and generate higher revenue for the dollars you're putting into marketing, please visit hvacmarketers.com and check out the resources tab, where we offer free trainings on everything from how to run profitable Google ads to how to get in the map pack in your service area, text message marketing, and much, much more. Also, feel free to shoot us a chat with your specific questions. We're here to help you grow your HVAC business. Thanks for listening.